Hello, my love, and holy smokes, welcome back to day 17 of the 111-day Mind, Body, Soul Challenge Quest. I cannot believe I cannot believe, but it's been a hot minute since I've recorded for the 111-day Mind, Body, Soul Quest Challenge, which actually is going to inform today's episode, which I'm really excited about, to speak about the concept of constancy over consistency and what that looks like, and also just climbing off the hamster wheel road to success and achieving your goals, which I feel like is so befitting even for November itself. November is, holy moly, it's here. And I find that during this time, there's this intense collective pressure that you have to achieve all your goals, that you have to reflect on what you set out to do this year. Have you achieved that? Haven't you done that? What does that look like for you? And so I really want to speak about that today. And I think it's really befitting to kind of do a catch up of like, where the hell have I been and what's been happening? So when I started this 111-day Mind, Body, Soul Quest, for those of you who are new here, hi, my name is Kylie Nell. I'm a business, spiritual, and life mentor, as well as a trauma-informed energy healer. And I've really made it my mission in this lifetime to help women heal from their past experiences and claim back their divine sovereign power. And so when I initially started this 111-day challenge, it came with the intention of understanding my why. And it came to the intention of trying to find balance in a whole situation, which I feel is like the situation of the year, of healing while still wanting to go full heartedly for my goals, while still figuring out who the hell I am, while still wondering how to navigate spaces. Like, this challenge was really started to hold me accountable into being okay to explore these depths of myself and being able to share the golden nuggets as I experience them and to be able to pass them down. And so in the interim of doing this 111-day challenge, I've also been working with an energy healer and a shaman. You've probably heard me speak about her in the episodes prior. And we're officially coming. Today's actually going to be my last session with her, my last plant medicine session with her after 3 months of deep, intensive work. And I definitely feel I'm going to do an episode on this and speak more about the power of the work I've done. But I find it no coincidence that over the past 2 weeks, there's been really deep integration happening. There's been a lot of like realizations, a lot of old trauma wounds that were being healed. Like, so much was just really almost like coming to an end, if I could say it as such, within my own healing journey. And so the integration of that was also pretty intense. And without that period, I just had to kind of allow myself the space to try and figure things out whilst also preserving my energy so that I can show up full heartedly for all the spaces that I need to be in and be able to support my clients and still hold myself in a very sacred space. And so it feels great to be here. It feels great to record this episode again. I think I saw it's almost been like a 2 week break since the last one. So I'm like, oh, time really flies. I have no concept of time, but it was so divine and so sacred. So thank you for being here, my love. I really appreciate this. And with that being said, let's dive into today. I really want to speak to two very important parts. One is the battle between consistency over constancy and really giving yourself the permission to climb off the rat race of November. And I want to send this through as a collective message because I find this happens every single year. Like, Halloween will just come and go. And then suddenly you'll just go into like the stores, you'll be in the grocery store, it doesn't matter where you look, and there'll just be this array of like Christmas decorations. And suddenly everyone's preparing to close off the year. Everyone's thinking about what they're doing for New Year's. And you're probably sitting there and you're like, oh my God, can I just catch like a breath? Can I just catch a break? Like, I haven't even thought about the end of the year yet. How is this possible? Like, I'm still trying to just integrate and move through this year. That's you, my babe. Hi. You're not alone. You're not alone. And I really want to encourage you during this time to protect your energy as much as possible. I find that there is this beautiful duality that's happening at the moment where a lot of women are waking up to this collective realization that the way we work and the way we operate is very different from the hustle masculine culture that's been portrayed as the standard norm and how to survive in this world. And that we actually have a very beautiful cosmic creative way of showing up in the world, of being able to work, of being able to achieve our goals. And this very much requires you to unsubscribe from a lot of the narratives that's running around. It requires you to unsubscribe from the narrative of always having just to like hustle, like you have to get things done quickly. It's going to force you to unsubscribe from the narrative of time, like that things have to happen at this linear progress, and that you have to have like 3 months goals and 6 months goals, and you have to achieve things in 3 months and 6 months and 8 months, and whatever time period you put onto yourself. Like it's really now going to bacon and require you to unsubscribe from these old narratives that you may still be holding on to. At what speed should you be achieving your goals? At what rate? At what pace? Well, that's speed and pace, pretty much the same thing here, my babe. At what pace are you like achieving your goals, and why are you working towards them? And so it was quite interesting because I did a medicine session about, it was already, yeah, it was about 2 weeks ago. And in this medicine session, I did a lot of deep work around the concept of validation and really looked deeply into what does validation look like when we actually validate ourselves from within, and when nothing outside of us actually feeds that validation. So meaning that no matter at what rate you achieve your goals, your achievement is sacred and special to you all the same. No matter when your manifestations decide to drop in, you wholeheartedly believe and commit to the journey all the same. No matter what people say, like you are fully aligned and committed to your path all the same. It's like all these small little things where we tend to place and displace our power outside of us. When we are trying to look for validation from other people to validate our success, to validate our efforts, to validate that we're doing the right things, maybe even like just validation outside of you to validate that you're actually moving in the right direction. I know social media has kind of created this vortex of validation for us where if you get the likes, if you get the followers, if you get the reach, like then you're being validated that you're on the right path. Like that validation sinks in, right? And so it's really important to realize that we have been fundamentally set up for external validation. It's in our DNA, it's how we operate, it's how our brains receive feedback, and it's how we've been conditioned as kids. Like from the tiny little age of simply just before you could even like understand what's happening in the world, you already were conditioned, and your conditioning started for external validation. Get a gold star at school. Oh, if you do this, mommy will give you X. Like, it's not to say these things are wrong, but it's important to see the ripple effect it can have for us as adults if we don't actually nip it in the bud. If we continue to find the sense of validation from the things outside of us, especially through our achievements. You know, if I look at like school and my university like years, university really threw me because it taught me that I don't have to look for validation in my grading. Because being at school, one of the ways I felt like I could find validation and find love and acceptance was to work really hard and achieve high grades and be the perfect student. And so that perfectionism created a neural pathway in my brain that you have to be perfect in order to find validation, which will equal acceptance and love and success and all these things. And the reason why this is such an important concept to understand and why this concept of validation hit me so hard when it did is because the moment I released this need for external validation, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to validate my own damn self. Whatever that may look like, whatever this journey is, like I am living life for me. I was listening to a podcast with my husband the other day. I actually wish I could remember what the podcast name was, but I can't. It was essentially such a beautiful podcast where they were speaking about the concept of life and achievement and goals, and really dived into the concept of, well, what if you just ended up living this life for you and ended up actually enjoying the experience of being able to go through the challenges that will build you and build the character and the resiliency and the insights and knowledge and wisdom that you need to be able to go into like this next phase of your life and successfully be able to take that on wholeheartedly. And the moment they said that, it was really interesting for me to see what perspective shift happened within my consciousness, because I was like, if we really let go of this notion of external validation, right? And we really just started living for our validation within ourselves. And we really started tuning into like, are my needs being cared for and met? Am I happy? Do I feel content and successful? Do I feel inspired and excited to be alive? Am I well? And we really just had those as the biggest benchmarkers. And I literally have like butterflies. I want to burst out of my body saying this because I feel like so many of us need to hear this. And I was like, if I can really just allow like those needs to be met, that's all that matters at the end of the day. How I achieve my goals, at what rate I achieve my goals, at the like cadence I achieve my goals, whatever that comes through, that is my life's journey, and I'm here for that. And I'm no longer going to discredit or bypass my own self or think that my life is not worthy enough or good enough to fully experience and to fully sink into. That I feel the need that I have to look at what other people are doing or how they're doing it, or beat myself up about not having the robotic consistency that I've been trained to have, but knowing that I'm still remaining constant. And that's really what almost this like 2 week break, it was almost a 2 week break, very unintentional from recording for the 111-day challenge. Because sitting here, I feel like every single cell inside my body is vibrating so high right now. Because it's literally, I'm so excited to record this. I'm like, oh my God, yes, I've got so much to share. I feel like I've gone through a metamorphosis over the past 2 weeks. And throughout the past 2 weeks, I really was like, cool, like I stuck to the fundamental principles of the 111-day quest, the mind, body, soul matrix. I really stuck to that. I was like, well, what do you need? What needs do you need to have taken care of? And that very much came down to like, cool, like there were things that came through, like of rest, of exercise. I was seeing like a chiro to help me with like things I found in my body, and that like send my body into like a little bit of an inflammatic state. It's all trauma responses within my body. So I was like, cool, like my body needs care. I need TLC. Doing a lot of ocean plunges, just going to the sauna. Oh, the sauna. Just being able to sit in the sauna and just connect with like God consciousness and my higher consciousness and just connect with all. So I kept my constancy in my values and my principles and the things that I know that I had to focus on so that I could be the best possible vessel to still continue like manifesting my goals, achieving the things I want to do, like still continuing the momentum in my life. But imagine I measured my consistency in terms of like, oh, you have to record every single day for this 111-day challenge. And if you don't, oh, you've fallen off the bandwagon, you failed. Imagine that was my attitude. I would have completely thrown myself off here. I would have completely lost the game altogether. And probably I've been in a very like, and I say because I know this, been in a very dark place. Because when we place so much of our sense of self onto the external things of what we achieve, and we get that internal validation and sense of like, oh, I'm good enough, I'm doing enough. Like the moment that ego starts feeding on the external environment, you've lost that sacred connection of your why. You've lost that sacred connection of like, what was the reason for me to do this in the first place? Because that sacred connection loves constancy. Be constant in your vibration. Be constant with honoring your values. Be constant with your decisions. But you don't have to give in to robotic consistency. You're not a robot. And so I really invite you in this period, as we're entering November, like this is going to be a very sacred period, and especially December. Like we're closing off a big fucking year, my loves. It's been a very big year. Every woman that I've crossed paths with has told me like this has been a huge ass year. And I agree. It's been a huge ass year. You've changed as a woman. Fundamentally, you've changed. This is the year of the seven. Every 7 years, like, oh, beautiful realization. Every 7 years, our body regenerates cells. We literally go through a shedding. This is the year of the seven. It is a huge year of shedding. Big, 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 big. And so recognizing that you've done all this shedding, you've changed so many things. Relationships have changed. You've probably changed your career, or you've been looking to change your career. That was one of the biggest things for me this year, was going fully in as an entrepreneur and going all in working for myself and being like, cool, like I can trust myself to do this. I can trust myself to make the big moves, to hold the vessel, to steer the ship. But that took a lot of regulation and inner work to get to a place where I felt concrete and solid within, to be like, I can do this. And so I invite you, as we're heading off into November, hit unsubscribe from the hustle culture around there. Hit unsubscribe from the constant need for achievement. Allow this to be a sacred time for yourself. Allow this to be a sacred space. You still have all the time in the world. Just because we're reaching this closing off of a year season doesn't mean your opportunities are coming to an end, or whatever you've been looking to achieve and perhaps haven't gotten to that extent yet. Or you find that there's goals that you set out for yourself this year that you just haven't been able to prioritize. Dust them off. Start bringing them to the surface. You have every right within your being to prioritize the things that are important to you that you may not have been able to get to. And honor the fact that you've been doing the best you can this year with the resources you've had available to you. And that is absolutely beautiful. So let's get off the hamster wheel. Let's get off the hamster wheel of feeling like we always need to be achieving. We always have to be like running towards our goals. And if we don't have this incredible masculine, consistent, robotic, it almost reminds me of like an army type of vibe. Like if we don't have like this robotic consistency, then we're not doing it. It's okay if life happened this year. It's okay if it's still happening. Your goals aren't going anywhere. Only if you in your mind allow them to slip away. Be constant in your vibration. Realize that there will be days when you get to things and there will be days when you don't. There'll be days when you need more rest, and there'll be days when you can feel you can go fully at it wholeheartedly. But keep constant. Keep constant in connecting to your vision. Keep constant in connecting to your why. Keep constant in trusting yourself, in going after that big dream, because it's that constancy that's going to get you there. The more like conscious we start to live, the more spiritually attuned we become, the more energetic we start to allow our flow and our being to be, the more we start to realize that the term of consistency is not meant to be for humans. It's something that goes into a production line. Like I'm even looking at my like lip balm here. Products are meant to be consistent. They go into a robotic line. It's in, out, bam. Material man-made things, I keep looking around. They're meant to be constant or consistent. That's consistency. Humans are not meant to have this robotic consistency. Man-made things, yes, they can be consistent, because why? Human nature. Humanity loves control. Interesting. Control and power. And that's why consistency is there. It breeds control and it makes you feel powerful. But constancy is different. Constancy requires you to realize that you can come in various different shapes and ways and forms, but your vibration is going to be the same. It's like a crystal. Imagine you have a rose quartz. Like you'll have different sizes of rose quartz. Not one crystal will ever look the same. But that rose quartz will have, regardless if it's this stone or that stone, it will have the same rose quartz energy throughout it, because it's constant. It doesn't have to subscribe to consistency. And that's what I want to pass on to you, my love. Unsubscribe from the consistency rat race. Unsubscribe from it entirely. Find that validation from within and focus on your constancy amongst anything. That was really the biggest breakthrough that came for me from these 2 weeks, was realizing that as much as that I missed recording for the space, because recording for this like 111-day challenge is cathartic as fuck, I also realized that at the same par, I was like, there's some real things happening, some very real things happening, and some deep healing where I was releasing years and years and years of abandonment wounds and just things coming up for me and trauma. And also just like building goals and having things come into the surface and needing rest and shit. There's been so much. But throughout this period, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to let this fact of not being the consistent version that we're always told to be. Almost looks like it just started raining. I'm like, I'm not going to have those old wounds of feeling like I have to measure myself robotically with consistency to be successful, to be seen, to be worthy enough. I was like, that is bullshit. I'm going to be constant. And that's so freeing. That's so freeing. Even as an entrepreneur, if there's any of like my entrepreneurs watching this, focus on your consistency amongst anything. Because consistency is what kills us. We feel like we have to be robotic to constantly produce. You're not meant to constantly produce. You're not a computer. Come back to your truth. Allow your constancy to excel amongst anything. And with that, I'm sending you all so much love. I cannot wait to come back for another beautiful recording for the 111-day Mind, Body, Soul Quest Challenge. And with that, my loves, I will see you soon. Bye for now.